New places to export their excess capacity in things like railway, ports, hard infrastructure. Of course, it's to a great extent about the geopolitical game trying to increase China's influence in the world.
What can't China do? You tell me because it started another mega railway, not your ordinary route, but up above in the mountains with terrible seasons and altitude. This is one monstrous but great innovation for China, especially the locals benefiting. How far is it going, and when will it be completed for the world to marvel? Keep watching, it's going to be an exciting choo-choo ride. Long and winding road no more. Believe it because it's happening. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is one of China's most impressive railway projects, built to connect Chengdu, Sichuan province, to Lhasa, Tibet. Covering 1,838 kilometers, or 1,142 miles, this railway isn't just a regular train route, it's a masterpiece of modern engineering designed to handle some of the toughest natural conditions on Earth. It's built for extreme conditions. Unlike most railways, this one has to deal with mountains, earthquakes, and high altitudes all at once. Over 90% of the track is either on bridges or inside tunnels, which helps the railway handle steep climbs and deep valleys. The trains also need to be specially designed to withstand thin air, freezing temperatures, and rough terrain without slowing down. High speed, but safe. Telling you, even with all these challenges, China has managed to make this railway one of the fastest in high-altitude regions. Trains are expected to run at speeds of 160-200 kilometers per hour, which is much faster than most mountain railways worldwide. But safety is a top priority. Engineers have included earthquake-resistant structures, advanced monitoring systems, and flexible tracks that can handle shifting permafrost, which is common in Tibet. Expect tunnels and bridges everywhere. Because the route runs through some of the world's most rugged landscapes, tunnels and bridges make up a huge portion of the railway. The longest tunnel is expected to be over 40 kilometers or 25 miles long, cutting through the towering mountains. One of the most breathtaking bridges will cross the Yarlung Tsangpo River, one of the highest and most dangerous rivers in Tibet, a scenic journey. Aside from its technical brilliance, the Sichuan-Tibet Railway is also designed to be one of the most scenic train rides in the world. Passengers will be able to enjoy snow-capped peaks, deep canyons, grasslands, and ancient Tibetan villages along the way. The trains will also have specially designed windows and oxygen supply systems to keep travelers comfortable as they cross high-altitude areas. The railway will bring huge economic benefits to Tibet by making transportation of goods cheaper and boosting tourism. Right now, it takes about 48 hours to travel from Chengdu to Lhasa by train. Once the railway is fully completed, that will drop to just 13 hours. This will make Tibet more accessible and connected to the rest of China. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is truly one of China's most ambitious projects. From cutting-edge designs to extreme conditions, it's a railway that pushes the limits of what's possible. Once finished, it won't just be a train route, it will be a symbol of China's engineering power and determination. Speaking of technology and machinery, engineering marvel. Building a railway across the rugged landscapes of Western China is no easy feat, and the Sichuan-Tibet Railway is one of the most ambitious railway projects in history. Engineers have had to push the boundaries of technology and innovation to make this project a reality. From massive tunnels slicing through mountains to record-breaking bridges spanning deep valleys, this railway is designed to withstand some of the harshest conditions on Earth. Tunnels cutting through mountains. One of the biggest challenges of the Sichuan-Tibet Railway is the steep and rocky terrain of the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau. To keep the railway running smoothly, engineers have had to dig through some of the highest and hardest mountains in the world. Many of these tunnels stretch for kilometers, with some expected to be over 40 kilometers, 25 miles, long. These tunnels are not just long. They have to withstand earthquakes, landslides, and extreme weather conditions. Digging through these mountains is a slow and dangerous process. Engineers must carefully blast through rock while ensuring the tunnels don't collapse under pressure. In some areas, workers must also deal with unstable soil and water seepage, which can make construction even trickier. To prevent disasters, the tunnels are reinforced with high-strength concrete and steel and cutting-edge monitoring systems are installed to detect any movement or structural weaknesses. Bridges above deep valleys. Since much of the railway passes through steep canyons and deep valleys, massive bridges are needed to keep the track level. Some of these bridges rise hundreds of meters above rivers, making them some of the highest railway bridges in the world. One of the most impressive structures along the route will cross the Yarlung Tsangpo River, known for its powerful currents and rugged cliffs. Building these bridges in such extreme conditions is a huge challenge. Engineers must carefully anchor the bridge foundations into the rocky cliffs while ensuring they can withstand strong winds, heavy snowfall, and potential earthquakes. Some bridges are also built in areas prone to landslides, requiring protective barriers and advanced drainage systems to prevent erosion from weakening the structure over time. One of the most unique challenges of the Sichuan-Tibet Railway is permafrost, a layer of frozen ground that covers parts of the Tibetan plateau. The problem with permafrost is that it melts and refreezes with temperature changes, causing the ground to expand and contract. This can lead to cracks in the railway tracks and even shift entire sections of the railway over time. To solve this, engineers have developed special cooling technology to keep the permafrost stable. In some areas, they use insulated tracks that help regulate temperature changes and ventilation pipes that allow cold air to circulate, preventing the ground from melting too quickly. Additionally, some sections of the railway are built on elevated tracks, allowing air to flow underneath and reduce the impact of ground movement. What about the quakes? The Sichuan-Tibet Railway also passes through one of the most seismically active regions in the world. Western China, especially near Yan and Ningxi, experiences frequent earthquakes, making railway construction extremely risky. A strong earthquake could cause landslides, cracks in the tunnels, or even collapse bridges, which is why engineers have designed the railway to withstand significant seismic activity. To protect the railway from earthquakes, engineers have built shock-absorbing foundations that allow bridges and tracks to move slightly without breaking. Tunnels are reinforced with flexible joints, allowing them to shift during an earthquake without collapsing. Advanced early warning systems are also in place to detect tremors and halt trains in case of an emergency. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is not just another railway, it's an engineering marvel that pushes the limits of human capability. From massive tunnels cutting through mountains to high-altitude bridges defying gravity, this railway is proof of China's ability to tackle the toughest construction challenges. When fully completed, it will not only be one of the most breathtaking train routes in the world, but also a symbol of innovation and determination, a creation of the century. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is more than just a transportation project. It is a major step toward economic development, regional connectivity, and social progress. As one of the most remote and least accessible regions in China, Tibet has long struggled with high transportation costs and limited trade opportunities. The new railway is set to transform the region's economy, making travel and trade easier, boosting tourism, and improving the lives of local people. Let's talk about faster and cheaper transportation goods. One of the biggest challenges Tibet faces is its high cost of living due to expensive transportation. Currently, most goods are transported by trucks along winding mountain roads, which are not only slow, but also highly affected by weather conditions. Landslides, heavy snowfall, and road damage often disrupt supply chains, causing delays and making everyday products more expensive for Tibetan residents. With the Sichuan-Tibet Railway, goods can be transported quickly, efficiently, and at a much lower cost. Trains will be able to carry large amounts of food, fuel, construction materials, and other essential supplies at a fraction of the cost of road transport. This will lead to lower prices for consumers and make it easier for businesses to operate in Tibet. Additionally, local industries such as agriculture, handicrafts, and mineral exports will benefit from cheaper shipping costs, allowing Tibetan products to reach markets across China and beyond. A reliable railway system will also attract businesses and investors to Tibet, something that has been difficult due to the region's challenging geography and poor infrastructure. Companies that previously avoided setting up operations in Tibet due to high costs, may now see new opportunities. With easier access to major cities like Chengdu, Chongqing, and Beijing, businesses will find it more profitable to invest in Tibetan industries such as tourism, manufacturing, and renewable energy. Moreover, the railway will enable faster movement of workers and raw materials, making it possible for industries to expand and modernize. Construction projects, including new factories, hotels, and commercial centers, will become more feasible, creating thousands of jobs for local residents. This will reduce unemployment and provide new career opportunities for young Tibetans, many of whom have previously had to move to other provinces in search of work. Tourism is already one of Tibet's biggest industries, but its growth has been limited by difficult travel conditions. Most tourists currently have to fly into Lhasa or take a long, exhausting journey by road. The new railway will provide a faster, more affordable, and scenic way for travelers to visit Tibet, making the region more accessible than ever before. With easier access, more visitors will be able to explore Tibet's stunning landscapes, ancient monasteries, and unique culture. This will lead to a boom in the local economy, benefiting hotels, restaurants, tour operators, and small businesses. Popular destinations such as Lhasa, Ningchi, and Shigatse will see a sharp rise in visitors, bringing in millions of yuan in tourism revenue each year. Additionally, local Tibetan communities will have more opportunities to sell traditional handicrafts, textiles, and artwork to tourists, further supporting cultural preservation and economic growth. Beyond economic benefits, the Sichuan-Tibet Railway will greatly improve the quality of life for people living in Tibet. It surely will. Access to better healthcare, education, and public services will become easier, as professionals such as doctors, teachers, and government workers will be able to travel to the region more conveniently. Medical supplies, school materials, and other essential resources will also be transported more efficiently, leading to better healthcare facilities and improved education systems in remote Tibetan areas. For the local population, the railway will also provide new opportunities for travel and mobility. Many Tibetans who previously had limited options for moving between cities will now be able to visit other parts of China more easily, whether for work, education, or personal reasons. This will help bridge the gap between Tibet and the rest of China, fostering greater cultural exchange and national unity. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is not just a railway. It is a lifeline for economic growth, development, and modernization. It will lower costs, boost trade, attract businesses, expand tourism, and improve the everyday lives of people in Tibet. At the same time, it strengthens China's overall economic and political stability by connecting one of its most remote regions with the rest of the country. In the coming years, as the railway is fully completed and operational, Tibet is expected to experience a transformation like never before. From bustling markets to growing industries and thriving tourism, the railway will pave the way for a brighter and more prosperous future for the Tibetan people and the entire region. What about the environment? While the Sichuan-Tibet Railway promises economic growth and better connectivity, it also raises serious environmental concerns. The railway cuts through some of the most ecologically sensitive regions in the world, home to rare wildlife, fragile ecosystems, and sacred cultural sites. Many conservationists and local communities worry that the construction and operation of the railway could have long-term negative impacts on the environment. Although China has pledged to use advanced technology and eco-friendly measures to reduce damage, the true impact remains uncertain. The Tibetan Plateau is often called the roof of the world, but it is also one of the most delicate environments on Earth. The region has a high-altitude climate and unique ecosystems that have remained largely undisturbed for centuries. However, large-scale railway construction can damage landscapes, disrupt water sources, and affect soil stability. One major concern is deforestation and land degradation. To build the railway, large sections of land must be cleared, which could lead to soil erosion and loss of plant life. Once trees and vegetation are removed, the land becomes more vulnerable to landslides and flooding, especially in steep mountainous areas. In addition, the construction process involves blasting through rock, digging tunnels, and laying tracks, which can disrupt natural water flow and underground springs. This could affect local agriculture and the availability of clean water for both people and animals. Tibet is home to many rare and endangered species such as the Tibetan antelope, choo-choo, snow leopards, and black-necked cranes. These animals have adapted to the region's harsh climate and isolation, but increased human activity poses a serious threat. The noise, pollution, and movement of trains could disturb natural habitats, making it harder for these animals to find food, migrate, or reproduce. One of the biggest concerns is wildlife migration. Many animals in Tibet move across large areas in search of food and breeding grounds. If the railway cuts through their natural migration paths, it could force them into smaller, fragmented habitats, making survival more difficult. Conservationists worry that railway fencing, train noise, and human settlements along the route could drive some species toward extinction. To address this, China has promised to build animal corridors and underground passages to allow wildlife to cross safely. However, critics argue that similar projects in other regions have had limited success, and some species may still struggle to adapt. There's also the pollution and climate change concerns. Railways are generally considered more eco-friendly than roads because they produce less carbon emissions per passenger compared to cars or planes. However, the construction process itself can cause significant pollution. The heavy use of machinery, explosives, and concrete generates dust, waste, and air pollution, which can harm both people and wildlife. Additionally, the trains running on the Sichuan-Tibet Railway will require huge amounts of energy, potentially increasing carbon emissions if clean energy sources are not prioritized. Another major environmental issue is permafrost melting. The Tibetan Plateau contains large areas of permafrost, a layer of frozen ground that helps regulate the climate by trapping carbon dioxide and methane. However, railway construction and global warming could speed up the melting of permafrost, releasing huge amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. This could worsen climate change and make the region more vulnerable to landslides and infrastructure damage. To counter this, engineers are using cooling technology to keep permafrost stable and reduce the railway's environmental footprint. Still, climate change is unpredictable, and it remains unclear how effective these measures will be in the long run. Beyond nature, the railway also raises concerns about Tibet's cultural and spiritual heritage. Tibet is home to many ancient monasteries, religious landmarks, and sacred mountains, which hold deep spiritual significance for Tibetan Buddhists. Some locals worry that increased tourism and industrial development could lead to overcrowding, commercialization, and damage to these sites. Furthermore, local Tibetan communities that have lived in harmony with nature for generations fear that the railway will bring too much modernization too quickly, changing their traditional way of life. As more businesses and people move into the region, there could be increased urbanization, leading to higher pollution levels, resource depletion, and cultural shifts that may not be welcomed by all Tibetans. The Chinese government has assured the public that it is taking strong environmental precautions, such as using tunnels and bridges instead of direct land cuts to reduce habitat destruction, implementing wildlife corridors and eco-friendly train designs to protect animals, and monitoring environmental conditions with high-tech sensors to prevent disasters. While these measures sound promising, many conservationists argue that large-scale infrastructure projects often have unforeseen consequences. Only time will tell whether China can truly balance economic development with environmental protection in this delicate region. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is a groundbreaking project that brings both opportunities and risks. While it will improve transportation, boost the economy, and connect Tibet with the rest of China, it also poses serious environmental challenges. From habitat destruction and wildlife threats to pollution and cultural concerns, the railway must be carefully managed to minimize harm and preserve Tibet's natural beauty. Ultimately, The success of this railway will depend on how well China follows through on its environmental promises. If done right, it could set an example for sustainable infrastructure development in fragile ecosystems. If not, it could become another case of economic progress at the cost of nature and heritage. How far is China in building the railroad? Are locals going to enjoy it in the next few years? For sure, tourists are also looking forward to it. Progress so far. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is being built in multiple stages due to the complex terrain, extreme weather conditions, and massive engineering challenges. Some parts of the railway are already operational, while others are still under construction. The project is expected to be fully completed by 2030, marking one of the most ambitious railway projects China has ever undertaken. The first section of the railway, the Lhasa-Ningqi segment, officially opened in June 2021. This 435-kilometer stretch was a major milestone because it introduced the first electrified railway in Tibet, allowing high-speed trains to run at speeds of 160 kilometers per hour. The Lhasa-Ningqi section not only improved connectivity within Tibet, but also served as a testing ground for railway technology in high-altitude conditions. With this section completed, the focus has shifted to the Ya'an-Ningqi stretch, which is considered the most difficult part of the entire project. This section must navigate earthquake-prone zones, deep valleys, and permafrost-covered mountains, requiring hundreds of tunnels and bridges. Engineers are using advanced drilling technology, bridge-building techniques, and earthquake-resistant designs to ensure safety and efficiency. Given the extreme challenges, this part of the railway is expected to take several more years to complete. Its expected completion is in 5 years. The entire Sichuan-Tibet Railway, stretching 1,838 kilometers, 1,142 miles, from Chengdu to Lhasa, is projected to be completed by 2030. Once finished, it will be one of the highest and most advanced railways in the world, cutting travel time between Chengdu and Lhasa from over 48 hours by road to just 13 hours by train. This will make it much easier for tourists, businesses, and goods to move between Sichuan and Tibet, significantly transforming the region's economy. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is not just a new train route, it's a symbol of China's engineering ambition and commitment to infrastructure development. From overcoming some of the world's toughest landscapes to improving economic opportunities for millions of people, this railway is a game changer. When completed, it will provide a faster, more reliable, and safer way to travel across Western China, bringing Tibet closer to the rest of the country and reshaping regional connectivity for decades to come. Building complications and the public eye. As mentioned, the railway is one of China's most ambitious infrastructure projects, promising faster travel, economic growth, and better connectivity between Tibet and the rest of the country. However, despite its impressive goals, the railway has also faced major complications and criticism from various angles. From engineering difficulties and environmental concerns to political debates and financial risks, this massive project is not without its challenges. Building a railway through some of the world's most rugged and unpredictable terrain is no easy task. The railway passes through the Himalayan foothills, steep valleys, earthquake zones, and areas of permafrost, making construction extremely difficult. The Ya'an to Ningqi section is particularly challenging, as engineers must blast through mountains, build long tunnels, and construct massive bridges over deep canyons. One major concern is earthquakes and landslides. The region is known for frequent seismic activity, and any major quake could damage tracks, tunnels, or bridges, making train travel risky. To address this, engineers are using earthquake-resistant designs, but there are still concerns about the long-term stability of the railway. Permafrost is another problem. As the frozen ground melts and shifts due to climate change, it could weaken the railway's foundation, leading to cracks and instability over time. Even after the railway is completed, maintaining it will be a constant struggle. Extreme weather conditions, high-altitude challenges, and the natural shifting of the land mean that the railway will require frequent repairs and upgrades, adding to long-term costs. One of the biggest criticisms of the Sichuan-Tibet Railway is its potential impact on Tibet's delicate environment. The railway cuts through areas rich in biodiversity, rare wildlife, and untouched landscapes, raising concerns among conservationists. Tibet is home to endangered species like the Tibetan antelope, snow leopards, and black-necked cranes, and increased human activity could disrupt their natural habitats. The construction process itself is also a major issue. Blasting through mountains, clearing land for tracks, and building infrastructure can lead to deforestation, soil erosion, and water pollution. Some experts worry that the railway could also contribute to permafrost melting, releasing trapped greenhouse gases into the atmosphere and accelerating climate change. The Chinese government has promised to use advanced technology to minimize environmental damage, including wildlife corridors and tunnels instead of open tracks in sensitive areas. However, critics argue that similar projects in other regions have failed to fully protect nature, and only time will tell if these measures will actually work. The railway also raises political and cultural concerns, especially among Tibetans and human rights activists. Some worry that the project is part of a broader effort by the Chinese government to increase control over Tibet by making it easier for non-Tibetans to move into the region. This could lead to further erosion of Tibetan culture, traditions, and language, as the railway makes it easier for Han Chinese settlers, businesses, and tourists to flood into Tibet. There are also concerns about military and strategic implications. Some believe that the railway could make it easier for China to deploy troops and military supplies to Tibet, strengthening its control over the region. Given Tibet's long history of political tensions with Beijing, the railway is seen by some as more than just an economic project. It is also a tool for greater political influence. And the financial costs and economic risks. A project of this scale doesn't come cheap. The Sichuan-Tibet Railway is expected to cost over 300 billion yuan, about $42 billion, making it one of the most expensive railway projects in China's history. While the government sees it as a worthwhile investment, some economists worry that the costs may outweigh the benefits. One major question is whether the railway will be financially sustainable. While it will boost tourism and trade, Tibet's population is relatively small, and its economy is still underdeveloped. Some fear that there may not be enough passengers and cargo to justify the massive investment, meaning the railway could struggle to generate enough revenue in the long run. Additionally, Tibet's challenging geography means that maintaining the railway will be extremely costly. Regular repairs due to earthquakes, extreme weather, and permafrost shifts could make it an ongoing financial burden for the Chinese government. Looking at the bigger picture, is it worth it? Is the railway worth the bills and long years of building? Despite the complications and criticisms, the Sichuan-Tibet Railway remains a symbol of China's engineering ambition and strategic vision. If successful, it could bring huge economic benefits, better connectivity, and new opportunities to the region. However, the project also comes with serious risks, environmental, political, and financial, that cannot be ignored. For now, the world is watching to see whether China can overcome these challenges and deliver a railway that truly benefits Tibet and the people living there. While the Sichuan-Tibet Railway promises progress, it also raises important questions about sustainability, cultural preservation, and long-term impact. Only time will tell whether this massive project will be a groundbreaking success or a costly mistake. China, leader of innovation and engineering. China is undeniably leading the global race in mega railways, outpacing other nations with its ambitious projects, cutting-edge technology, and rapid expansion. While other countries debate infrastructure funding and regulatory hurdles, China has been laying down tracks at an unprecedented rate, connecting cities and revolutionizing transportation. Its high-speed rail network is the largest in the world, covering over 40,000 kilometers and growing. One of the biggest reasons behind China's dominance is its commitment to large-scale investment. The Chinese government has poured trillions of dollars into rail development, creating a network that spans vast distances and links even remote regions. This strategic investment has not only boosted economic growth, but also improved accessibility for millions of people. High-speed rail has become the preferred mode of travel for many, reducing travel times and easing congestion on roads and in airports. Another factor that sets China apart is its technological innovation. The country has developed some of the fastest trains in the world, with speeds exceeding 350 kilometers per hour. Bullet trains, like the Fuxing series, demonstrate China's engineering prowess, featuring advanced aerodynamics, energy efficiency, and smart safety systems. Additionally, the country is pioneering magnetic levitation (maglev) technology, with future trains expected to reach speeds of 600 kilometers per hour or more. China's mega railway projects are not just confined within its borders. Through the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI), China is exporting its railway expertise to other countries, building rail lines in Asia, Africa, and even parts of Europe. These projects strengthen China's geopolitical influence while providing much-needed infrastructure to developing nations. Meanwhile, countries like the United States lag far behind. Political gridlock, funding challenges, and bureaucratic red tape have slowed down high-speed rail progress. While China's trains zip across the country at record speeds, the US is still struggling to get projects like California's high-speed rail off the ground. Even in Europe, where high-speed rail has been established for decades, expansion moves at a slower pace compared to China's rapid construction. Looking ahead, China shows no signs of slowing down. Plans are in motion for even longer and faster railways, including futuristic trains that push the boundaries of speed and efficiency. Whether it's urban metro expansions or transcontinental rail links, China's railway dominance seems set to continue, reshaping global transportation in the process. While other nations may eventually catch up, for now, China is in a league of its own when it comes to mega railways. The country's blend of ambition, investment, and innovation has propelled it to the top, setting a new standard for the future of rail travel worldwide. As for the Sichuan-Tibet Super Railway, it will be one of the biggest projects, even expected to outperform, outclass, and outrun other equally mega rail tracks present, which are all in the same country too. Are you looking forward to one of the biggest railways ever to be built? If you liked the video, leave a thumb up and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.